When it comes to the question of nature versus nurture, there are two opposing sides of thoughts fighting against each other. Some might agree that nurture is everything and nature is just some part of things. Others might believe that nature influences most aspect of our lives, be it intrinsic or extrinsic. Everything can be nurtured, shaped, and programmed with the right nurturing. But nature is innate. Our biological program and needs, genetic we inherit from our parents and ancestors, are the things that play some very crucial roles in the process of shaping our lives. Dr. Bruce Lipton, a developmental biologist, promotes the idea that gene expression can be influenced via epigenetics by environmental factors. The three biggest factors that shapes and influence a person's lives come from perception, parenting, and programming.
The most important question is, where do our perceptions come from? Number one, genetics. We get instincts we are born with. You do not have to teach a child how to pull its hand out of a fire. It is also very complicated instincts. For example, when a baby is born, every baby can swim from the moment it's born. It can be born underwater and swim like a dolphin. And this brings up a question which I'll answer in a little bit. If we were all born with the instinct and the ability to swim, then why do we have to teach children how to swim? And it's related to the second source of perception. And that is the subconscious mind, where our learned habits and learned experiences are recorded. So I'll talk about the swimming now. Okay. When a baby is very young, the parents are afraid that the baby will drown. So every time the baby goes near the water, the parents, the baby's by the water. By the sink, by the toilet, by the brook, wherever the water is, the baby hears the parents get very excited. So the baby learns that water is dangerous. And it has a fear of water because the parents express the fear, so the baby is afraid of water. So when the baby is 5 years old, the parents buy him a bathing suit. And they want to put the baby into the water, and the baby grabs the parents like a cat with claws. Because what is in the baby's mind? That the baby you're going to drown the baby. So the learned behavior can override the instincts. The third source of perceptions is the conscious mind, which is different than subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is learned habits. The conscious mind is creative programming. We talk about genetics because you were born with that as nature. It's in your nature to pull your hand out of the fire. But the subconscious behavior is learned, so it's based on experience, and it's called nurture. And for 100 years, science says, which is more powerful, nurture or nature? And it's a useless argument, because what's more powerful? Consciousness. When you are conscious, you can rewrite the instincts, and when you become conscious, you can rewrite the experiences of your life. So that it is important to recognize that what we are not using enough of in our world today is consciousness. And I will describe in a little while how most of our lives, at 95% or more of our life, is controlled by the habits of the subconscious mind. Now the question is, in development, what environment shapes fetal development? And the reason why the environment is important, as I showed you in tissue culture, the fate of the cell is controlled by the environment in which the cell lives. Whether it's just one cell or billions of the cells in a fetus, it's still the same response. So the question is, what environment is controlling the development of the fetus? Know it?
Mama?
Mom? Absolutely. The mother's environment shapes the fetal environment. When a woman is having a baby and she visits an obstetrician, the obstetrician asks mainly 3 questions. Are you eating well? Are you taking vitamins and minerals? Are you getting exercise? Why so few questions? And the answer is this. Medicine believes the fetus is controlled by the genes, genetic determination. And so therefore, the development of the baby has nothing to do with the mother. And so therefore, the mother's only role is to feed the baby. But as we talked about, the new science called epigenetics says that the environment controls the genes. Now think about this. This is an issue. Is there more in the mother's blood than just nutrition? Yes, emotions, the chemistry of emotions, the stress hormones, and all the other factors that control the mother's body also go into the placenta and affect the fetus. If the mother is happy, the chemistry of happiness makes the baby happy. If the mother is stressed or angry, the baby is stressed and angry. It's not the baby's brain that is controlling that. It is the response to the chemistry of the mother's blood. And now we know that the baby's brain is learning. Halfway through pregnancy, the brain starts learning. So the emotional patterns and behavior of the mother are being learned by the baby before it's born. But this does not leave the father out of the picture. Because if the father irritates or upsets the mother, then that is translated to the baby. And you might say, why should nature allow the mother to influence the baby so much? And the answer is this. When the baby is born, it will live in the environment that the mother experiences. So the mother is nature's Head Start program. It prepares the baby for the world that is present when that baby is born. And that the influence of the mother and the chemistry of her blood influence the genetics of the child. So for example, the experiences of the mother during World War II, and this is in the Netherlands, a scientific study, when there was not enough food and people were in starvation, the influence of the starvation on the mother was passed to and affected the genetics of the child. And when the child grew up and had her own baby, it passed the influence of starvation onto the next generation. In science, it's called the grandmother effect. That the grandmother is influencing 2 generations. As I mentioned, medicine has said that all of the development is just controlled by the genes of the baby, and that the brain and the nervous system of the fetus doesn't really work until just near birth. This is now proven to be totally wrong. That the baby, as I mentioned, is learning by midway through pregnancy. It's learning now. So if the father talks to the baby through the abdominal wall, the baby will learn the voice of the father, and when the baby is born and the father says any words, the baby will know which one the father is. And also it works with music, because people play music to the baby and it learns the music before it's born. Now I'm going to show you an experiment, a sonogram. And it's a sonogram of a fetus, and there's an argument between the mother and the father. It's in Italian, but it doesn't make a difference because an argument is the same in any language. But what I want you to observe is the response of the fetus.
Basta! Mi hai stufato! Non ti sopporto più!
Non urlare, smettila!
Quando un bambino nasce, ha già un passato. Siete voi. Non dimenticatelo, perché 9 mesi valgono una vita.
Basta! Mi hai stufato! Non ti sopporto più!
Non urlare, smettila!
Quando un bambino nasce, ha già un passato. Siete voi. Non dimenticatelo.
The baby experiences everything the mother experiences. And if there are patterns, that's when the baby learns. So we were affected before we were born. The personality we have was being laid down before we were born. And in a new book called Why Love Matters by Susan Gerhardt, she describes how the brain develops and how our personality is already derived by 2 years of age. And that's the personality we will express through the rest of our lives until we change that. And I have been talking about how parents influence the genetics of the child, and I say Parents are genetic engineers because they shape the genetics of their child. And I've been talking about that for 20 years. And now finally science, and this is from Scientific American, and the conclusion as they show, the findings suggest that a mother's parenting style can affect the activity of a child's genes. So there is a lot of responsibility in being a parent that we have not been aware of, because we've always said genes control biology, but it's the environment that controls biology.
Nature play its role on some crucial part of human life. The nature of human, the innate desire to create, destroy, love and hate, comes from a deeper trench of our heart and minds. Innate knowledge might comes from nature, such as our survival mode, avoiding danger and harm, or fighting to live. But these things come from practice, programming, and experience as well. Environment might have the power to shape our life unless we shaped our environment based on our innate tendencies and nurture it to adapt ourselves with it. It might be safe to presume that there is no nature versus nurture. Nature interacts with nurture, and through nurture, we shape our nature. If you have any thoughts about this topic, feel free to share it in the comment below. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and turn on the notifications so you won't miss our updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next session.